The red sands of Mars stretched out for miles. Silence ruled the empty planet until the signal came. Commander Rina Hale stood inside Mars Research Station Theta 7. Her boots clicked on the metal floor as she walked toward the main control room. Her team had picked up something strange from deep space, something that didn't follow any known pattern. "Report," she said as she entered the room. Dr. Leo Vance, her top scientist, looked pale. "We picked up a signal, but it's not from this time." Rina raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean, not from this time?" Leo took a deep breath. "It's a time echo, Commander. The signal is from 10,000 years in the future." Silence filled the room. The message played again, crackling with static. A broken voice spoke in panic. "If you're hearing this, they've already started. They change shapes. They walk among you. They're rewriting time. Stop them. Don't trust anyone." Rina stared at the speaker. "Who sent this?" Leo's hands shook. "It was signed by Earth Command, but that command doesn't exist yet. The signature matches a future seal, and the scariest part, there's a code inside the signal. It's quantum locked. We couldn't even break it. Until now," he added quietly. Rina felt a chill run down her spine. Something was wrong. Deeply wrong. "Run a scan of the station," she ordered. "If they said the enemy is already here, then we're not safe." Her team moved fast, scanning each room and each crew member, but the system began to glitch. Lights flickered. Doors opened and closed without a command. And then, the power died. Only the emergency lights stayed on, glowing red like blood. Rina drew her sidearm and walked through the corridor. Every step echoed. The silence was now heavy, like something was watching. In Lab 3, she found something strange. A body. It was Dr. Lina Torres, but she was already on duty in the medbay. Rina touched her comms. "Leo, get to the medbay. Check if Lina's there, now." A few seconds passed. "She's here," Leo replied. "She's helping the injured." Rina looked down at the body again. One Lina Torres was alive, the other was dead. Someone had taken her shape. Rina leaned closer to the body. Its skin was wrong, too smooth, too perfect. And as she touched it, the skin moved. Like liquid. It wasn't human. She stood up and ran to the main control room. "We have a shapeshifter on board," she said, her voice firm. "One of us isn't real." Panic started to spread among the crew. No one knew who to trust. That night, Rina called a private meeting. Only her closest officers attended. They sat around a round table in the secured conference room. "This changes everything," said Lieutenant Kim. "Aliens who can look like us, and a message from the future warning us. It feels like a trap." Rina nodded. "But it's not just about us. This might be bigger. If they can rewrite time, they can erase history. They can make sure Earth never exists." She pulled up a hologram. It showed the signal's location. It came from deep inside the Oort cloud, on the edge of the solar system. "But here's what scares me most," she continued. "The signal started 2 hours before we picked it up. That means it reached us before it was sent." The room went silent. "How is that even possible?" one officer asked. "Only if someone is playing with time," Rina replied. Suddenly, the screen on the wall flashed again. "If you can hear this, please, don't let them win. They already control your future." Rina froze. The voice this time wasn't from Earth Command. It was her own. Leo's face went white. "That's your voice, Commander. Future you." "I know," she whispered. Rina stood and looked at her team. "Listen to me. I don't know how or why, but we've been dragged into a war through time. These things are already among us. Maybe even in this room." Her eyes scanned everyone. "From now on, we test everyone daily. DNA scans, memory checks, no exceptions. And," she added, "we prepare for war." As the crew dispersed, Rina stayed alone in the dark room. She stared at her reflection in the glass wall. Then something strange happened. Her reflection didn't move when she did. A sharp alarm screamed through the station. "Security breach, Sector 3. The AI voice shouted. Commander Rina Hale grabbed her weapon and ran. Her boot slammed against the floor as red warning lights flashed above. Behind her, Dr. Leo Vance struggled to keep up. "What happened now?" she asked over her shoulder. Leo answered, breathless. "The DNA scan room. Someone destroyed the samples." Rina cursed under her breath. That meant only one thing. The shapeshifter didn't want to be found. They reached Sector 3. The hallway looked normal. Too normal. Quiet. Empty. The doors stood open, but no one moved inside. Rina raised her weapon. "Stay sharp. It could be anyone." Suddenly, a scream came from behind them. They spun around. It was Lieutenant Kim. She had blood on her face, eyes wide with horror. It took my form. I saw it. It looked like me. I tried to stop it, but..." Her voice cracked. Leo pointed. "There's two of her!" Another Lieutenant Kim stepped into the hallway, calm, clean, and holding a weapon. Rina raised her gun. "Both of you on the ground. Now." The two Kims stared at each other. One began to cry. The other didn't blink. Rina's hand shook. "Tell me your mother's name." The crying Kim whispered, "Mina Kim. She died when I was 12. Calm one smiled and said nothing. Too late. The calm Kim's skin shifted. Her face melted into something smooth and alien. Her eyes turned black. Bones cracked as her limbs twisted. She leapt forward. Rina fired. The plasma bolt hit the creature, in the chest. But it didn't fall. It roared, throwing Leo across the hallway. Rina rolled aside and kept shooting round after round. Finally, the creature stumbled back, hissing in pain. Smoke rose from its wounds. Then, it vanished, melted into the wall like mist. Silence. The real Kim collapsed, sobbing. Rina helped her. "Up. We can't win like this. Not if they can become us." Leo groaned, getting back to his feet. "This thing, it's not just copying our faces. It's copying memories. That's why DNA scans failed. We need something deeper." "What?" Rina asked. Leo's voice shook. "We test for emotion, human emotion. These things don't feel like us." Rina nodded. "Then we find every single one of them, and we burn them." Hours passed. The crew was shaken, paranoid. They locked doors. Everyone had to speak a personal truth to prove who they were. Things only a human would say. It worked, for now. But Rina couldn't sleep. She sat alone in her room, listening to the old message again. Her voice, her future voice, sounded tired. Broken. They come through time. They are rewriting the past. The shapeshifters want to erase Earth. I failed to stop them. But maybe you still can. Rina looked at the stars outside. What kind of enemy can destroy time itself? She whispered. Just then her screen lit up again. Another signal. But this one wasn't a message, it was a map. A star chart showing points across the galaxy, places the shapeshifters had already attacked. Earth wasn't the first, it was the last. The signal ended with a terrifying phrase. Primary target Homo sapiens. Final phase begins in 14 days. Rina's blood ran cold. The shapeshifters had a plan. A timeline. In 2 weeks, humans would be gone. And one more thing. She noticed a strange pattern in the map. Every planet hit by the shapeshifters had one thing in common. They all discovered faster than light travel right before being attacked, just like Earth did, just like her team had. They're not just killing us, she realized. They're stopping anyone from escaping. Later that night, Rina walked into the dark observation room. Leo stood there staring out into the stars. I ran a test, he said softly. On what? On myself. Rina turned, confused. Leo's eyes didn't blink. I remembered things I shouldn't. Then he smiled. But now, I remember everything. His skin began to ripple. Rina stepped back. Leo, or what used to be Leo, spoke in a calm, perfect voice. "You've already lost, Commander." She fired. The glass shattered. The creature screamed as the bullet hit its true form hiding beneath Leo's face, but before it died, it spoke one last sentence. "We were here before time, and we will be here after you." Rina stared at the dying creature and whispered, "No. Humanity just arrived." The silence after the shapeshifter's death didn't last long. Inside Mars Station Theta 7, Commander Rina Hale stared at the remains of Leo, or what had replaced him. It was not made of flesh or metal. It was something older, something wrong and worse. It had memories, Leo's voice, his thoughts, even his fears. "They're evolving," she whispered. "They're not just copying us anymore. They're becoming us." Suddenly, a loud chime echoed through the control deck. "Priority message from Earth Command," said the AI. The screen flickered to life. General Saito appeared, looking grim. "We received your warning," he said. "And your signal from the future." Rina nodded. "It's real. They're already here." Saito leaned forward. "Then you'll need Project Tachyon." Rina's eyes widened. That name was buried in classified files. A myth, a whisper about breaking the speed of light. "You finished it?" she asked. "We didn't," Saito said. "You did." He tapped. Something off screen. A new video appeared. It was a log entry by Commander Rina Hale. Only, she was older. Her face lined, her voice full of battle. "If you're seeing this, I'm already gone. The shapeshifters won. But before I died, I built something. A ship. It breaks light. It breaks time. You'll find it at Titan Station. Use it. Go back. Stop the first breach." The video ended. Rina stood frozen. She had built a time ship she had lost, and now she had a second chance. 6 hours later, Rina's crew was aboard a stealth transport, heading toward Saturn's moon, Titan. Their ship, the Starblade, cut through space like a silent arrow. Lieutenant Kim sat beside Rina in the cockpit. "Do you think it's really a time ship?" she asked. Rina didn't answer. Her mind raced. If her future self failed, then what exactly changed to make this version of events different? And what if this version was also doomed? The ship landed on Titan without problems. Buried under its icy surface, hidden behind a cloaking field, was a massive underground hangar. In the center floated something that did not look human-made. It was smooth, black, like folded light. And it hummed. The word Tachyon glowed on its side. Rina stepped forward. As she touched the surface, the ship responded. Lights flared, doors opened. It had been waiting for her. Inside, the ship was quiet, but alive. There were no controls, no buttons, just a floating core in the center of the cockpit. Rina placed her hand on it. A voice echoed inside her mind. Chronolink confirmed. Commander Rina Hale. Timeline 47 Delta. Destination? She flinched. What do you mean, timeline? 47, the voice answered. You have failed 46 times, one chance remains. Her heart stopped. 46 versions of her had tried. 46 had died. This was the last shot. She looked at her team. Everyone strap in. We're going back. Kim hesitated. Back where? Rina spoke without blinking. To the beginning. The first time they arrived. The first time the shapeshifters touched human history. The ship began to glow. Time warped around it. The stars outside stretched and twisted. Space folded like paper. They weren't moving through space anymore. They were falling between moments. Kim gasped. I see. People. Memories. They're not ours. Flashes of other timelines passed by their windows. Earth burning. Earth surviving. Earth ruled by alien kings. Earth never existing at all. It was all possible. All real. All depending on this moment. Then, silence. They had arrived. The date read, Year 2091. Earth looked young, untouched, just before the first known shapeshifter. Attack. But something was wrong. The timeline was already unstable. Buildings flickered. Trees aged in seconds and reversed. People walked, then vanished mid-step. Rina's voice cracked. They're not just changing time, they're corrupting it. The ship's AI spoke again. Warning, chronocracks detected. Timeline collapse in progress. Cause, active temporal beacon. Kim pointed to the map. The beacon is broadcasting from Antarctica. Rina stood. Then we go now, we destroy it. But the ship's AI gave one final message. One of your crew is not who they claim to be. Rina froze. She looked at her team. 8 people, and one was a spy, again. Rina stepped out of the tachyon ship into the frozen wasteland of Antarctica, but it didn't feel like Earth. The sky was green, the snow fell upward, and time was broken. Buildings shimmered in and out of reality. Some looked like ancient castles, others like alien towers. Every few seconds something vanished, then came back different. This isn't 2091, said Lieutenant Kim, eyes wide. It's a mix of different Earths. The ship's AI confirmed it. Warning, timeline fracture, history blending, across realities. Target, humanity's identity. They're not just erasing us, Rina whispered. They're rewriting who we are. She pulled up the signal map. The temporal beacon is close, inside that mountain range. But when they reached it, they found a city. Not human, not alien. Something in between. Tall black towers pierced the sky. Streets twisted into loops that led back to themselves. At the center stood a massive spire, glowing red at the top. That was the beacon. It pulsed like a heartbeat, and the air around it hummed with voices. Echoes. Hundreds, thousands of voices, whispering different versions of Earth's past. The humans never left the ocean. Earth is a slave world. The shapeshifters were always here. Kim shivered. These are fake histories, lies. No, Rina said, gripping her weapon. They're possibilities. And if they become real, our version of Earth disappears forever. As the team entered the city, something even stranger happened. A woman walked toward them. She looked human. But she wore a United Earth uniform, exactly like Rina's. Rina raised her weapon. Identify yourself. The woman smiled. Commander Rina Hale, 27th timeline. Kim blinked. Another you? The other Rina nodded. You survived longer than most impressive. Why are you here? The real Rina demanded. To warn you, the other Rina said. You're too late. This beacon isn't just broadcasting, it's alive. It's a machine god built by the shapeshifters, feeding on truth, changing it. The real Rina stared. Then help us destroy it. The other Rina stepped closer and said quietly, You don't destroy the beacon, you become it. Suddenly her face began to melt, not like the shapeshifters, like time itself was folding her. 1 second she was a child, then old, then gone. Only her voice remained. Be careful who you trust. The team ran toward the beacon tower. They didn't speak. Each one now wondered the same thing. Who is real? Who is not? Inside the tower, the walls were mirrors, not glass, living memory. They reflected not just their faces, but moments from their lives. Rina saw herself as a young cadet, then a mother, then a killer. Kim saw herself saving lives, then destroying them. The beacon at the top of the spire was beating faster now. Reality outside twisted. Earth's continents changed shape. Stars flickered, then vanished. Time was collapsing. Suddenly, alarms rang out. The ship's AI screamed, Hostile detected. One crew member is broadcasting shapeshifter signals. Rina turned slowly. The team stood still. Then, one of them smiled. Was Lieutenant Hart. He had been quiet the whole time. He clapped slowly. Bravo, made it this far, but it ends here. His body shimmered, but not into alien form, into pure light. He wasn't a normal shapeshifter. He was one of the originals. "I'm from before time began," he whispered. "Your species was a mistake, a bug in the timeline." Rina raised her gun. "Then let's fix the timeline." She fired, but the bullet froze midair. Time stopped, then rewound, then stopped again. Hart walked through the frozen moment, grinning. "You don't get it, Commander. This beacon isn't a weapon. It's your trial. Every Rina fails. Every Rina breaks. You think you're different?" Rina clenched her fists. "Yes, because I don't fight alone." She touched her chest badge. The beacon responded. It began pulling in energy, not from the alien tech, but from Rina's memory. From truth. She realized something. The beacon needed a center, a fixed point, a soul to anchor reality, and she had one thing no shapeshifter could copy: human choice. She ran into the heart of the beacon. Light exploded around her. Kim shouted, "Rina!" No. But it was too late. The tower began to shake. Time spiraled. Earth's skies opened. The beacon was breaking. But Rina wasn't afraid. Inside the core, she saw everything. All 47 timelines. All the Rinas who had died. All the choices made. All the chances lost, and now a new one created. Her voice echoed into the tower. "My name is Rina Hale. I am human. I remember who I am, and I reject your false timelines." The beacon cracked, screamed, exploded. Silence. The team woke up outside the city. The tower was gone. So was the fake sky. So was the green snow. Earth was back. But something had changed. Rina opened her eyes and saw herself. Not a copy, but a vision. Older. Wiser. Her future self smiled. One more battle left, one final war. They're coming from the end of time itself. Smoke still floated above the ruins of the beacon. Earth was quiet again. Too quiet. Rina Hale stood on a cliff, staring at the rising sun. It looked normal, but she knew better. This wasn't her original Earth. Not exactly. Small details were wrong. The sky was a bit more orange. The air smelled like metal. The stars weren't where they used to be. They had stopped the beacon, but they hadn't stopped the war. And then it came. A new signal. This time from space. The message was short. "Humanity will surrender in 72 hours. The commander has already agreed." Rina's face twisted in confusion. "I didn't send that," she said. But the voice in the message was hers. They traced the signal. It came from the orbit of Jupiter, from a massive alien warship, a ship shaped like the tachyon, but twisted, black, organic, as if time had grown it like a plant. Inside that ship was another Rina Hale. This one wore armor made from the skin of dead timelines. Her eyes glowed white. Her face was the same, but her voice was colder. "I am Rina Hale," the clone said. "Born in Timeline 0. Built to finish what you never could." The real Rina spoke through the comms. "You're not me." "I am the best parts of you," the clone answered. Without doubt, without fear, without mercy. The clone stepped forward. Behind her, a full alien fleet. Thousands of warships. Shapeshifters twisted into war beasts. Creatures from futures that no longer existed. "Earth cannot survive what's coming," the clone said. "But humanity can evolve." With me. Inside Mars Station Theta 7, the crew gathered in silence. "They made a copy of you," Kim whispered. "And she's leading the final invasion." Rina nodded slowly. "But not just a copy," said Dr. Ellen, the new science officer. "She's the original. She comes from Timeline 0, the very first, before the others, before us." Rina turned pale. "If she's the original," she said, "then I'm the copy." "No," Kim said, firm. "You're the one who survived. You're the one still fighting. That makes you real." Rina closed her eyes. She had one choice left: face herself, or let Earth burn. They launched toward Jupiter. Inside the real tachyon ship, Rina prepared her team. As they flew through the dark, space twisted. The stars shook. The clone fleet was warping time as they moved, breaking the laws of physics around them. "Jump in 5 seconds," said the AI. "Ready weapons," Rina ordered. They jumped. The sky shattered like glass. Suddenly, the tachyon appeared directly inside the enemy fleet. Alarm screamed. Giant ships turned to face them. Weapons charged. But Rina didn't attack. She sent one signal. "To the one who wears my face. Meet me. Alone." She landed on the command deck of the alien warship. The clone was waiting. The room was dark. Silent. Their faces, identical. Their stance, mirror images. "I knew you'd come," said the clone. "You're leading a war," Rina said. "Against your own kind." The clone smiled. "You were built to defend Earth. I was built to replace it." Rina clenched her fists. "You're not human." "Neither are you," the clone said quietly. "Not anymore. You've crossed time, changed reality. You're something else now. Something better." They circled each other. "You destroyed your emotions," Rina said. The clone nodded. "Emotions are weakness." "No," Rina whispered. "They're the only thing that makes us real." Then she charged. They clashed. It was like fighting her own shadow. Every punch matched, every move mirrored. But Rina had something the clone didn't. Memories, pain, people she cared about. And when the clone struck to kill, Rina saw her opening. She whispered one name. "Leo." The clone froze just for a second. That second was enough. Rina drove her blade into the clone's chest. The clone gasped, stumbled, and smiled. "I knew. You'd win." Then her body turned to light and vanished. The alien fleet began to fall apart. Without the clone's control, the creatures screamed in confusion. The tachyon fired one burst from its core. A shockwave spread. The fleet was erased, not destroyed, erased from time. History sealed behind it. Back on Earth, Rina stood under the stars again. The sky was clear, real. But the war wasn't over. Because just before the clone died, she had whispered one last secret. The shapeshifters weren't the enemy. They were hiding from something worse. Space was quiet again. But not for long. Commander Rina Hale stood on Earth's moon, watching the stars shift. She had defeated the clone. The alien fleet was gone. Earth was safe. For now. But one question haunted her. What were the shapeshifters hiding from? She didn't have to wait long for the answer. The sky broke, literally. A crack formed in space, like shattered glass stretching across the stars, and from it, something came. Not ships, not creatures. Wounds in reality. Black holes that didn't pull. They erased. Stars vanished. Moons disappeared. Time itself trembled. The AI from the tachyon screamed, "Warning. Chronostorms detected. Multiversal. Collapse underway. Origin unknown entity. Codename the Endwalker." Rina's chest tightened. This wasn't war. This was extinction. Across all timelines. The tachyon jumped into emergency mode. Reality twisted. Rina opened her eyes and found herself in the past. The original Mars colony. Before the first shapeshifter. Before faster-than-light travel. Before the wars. Kim stood beside her, blinking in shock. "What just happened?" Rina touched her wrist calm. "We didn't jump through time. We were pulled." A voice echoed in the sky. "Rina Hale, defender of a dying species. Will you fight when time itself rebels?" It wasn't the shapeshifters. It wasn't her clone. It was something deeper, older. They ran outside the colony walls and froze. There were multiple Earths in the sky, overlapping, shifting, colliding. One Earth was made of steel, another was covered in jungle, another was burning. All timelines were bleeding into each other, and in the center of the chaos stood a tall, featureless being, like a shadow wearing armor made of collapsing stars. The Endwalker. It didn't speak. It broadcasted thought. Time is unnatural. Memory is disease. Humanity spreads timelines like infection. All paths must end, Kim whispered. It's not just ending us. It's ending everything. Rina stepped forward, her eyes locked on the being. No. You're wrong. We're not a disease, we're hope. The Endwalker raised one hand. The Martian sky ripped open again, and through it came twisted versions of her crew, alternate versions, a dark Rina, a coward Kim, a Leo who sided with aliens, a version of humanity that chose machines over freedom. They charged, timeline versus timeline. Rina fought hard. She faced herself again and again, each version stronger, faster, colder, but none had her will. She remembered every sacrifice, every aim, every pain. One by one, the echoes fell. But then, the real blow came. The Endwalker moved. Faster than light, it appeared beside her, touched her forehead. "Show me your truth," it said. In that moment, Rina saw everything. Not just her past. She saw every version of herself. The girl who never left Earth. The mother who chose peace. The soldier who betrayed humanity. The clone who won. The Rina who died alone, forgotten, and the Rina who became the Endwalker. Her own voice echoed in her skull. "I was the first to break time. I became what I feared." Rina dropped to her knees. Was this her fate? Was she doomed to become the monster? But then, Kim's voice cut through the haze. "Rina, get up." She looked back. Her crew stood behind her. Real, loyal, human. They weren't perfect, but they were hers, and they were still fighting. That was her truth. Not perfection, persistence. She stood again, eyes full of fire. "I am Rina Hale," she said, louder now. "I made mistakes, I broke timelines, but I kept fighting." The Endwalker paused. Rina raised her arm. The tachyon responded. All the timeline versions of her began to shimmer, merge, unite. She was no longer one Rina. She was every Rina. She was the timeline, and this time she would not let it end. She charged the Endwalker. It moved. So did she. They met in the center of the storm, one blast of light. 1 second stretched into infinity, and then silence. Everything froze. When the light faded, Rina stood alone in empty space. The Endwalker was gone. No stars, no sky, just her. And then, a whisper. One battle remains. The final war wasn't over, because deep in the void, something else was waking up. Something older than time. Something watching. And it had one question. If humanity breaks time to survive, what will it break next? There was no sky, no stars, only void. Commander Rina Hale floated in silence, surrounded by the wreckage of forgotten timelines. Pieces of dead Earths drifted past, frozen fragments of lives that never happened. The Endwalker was gone, but something worse had awakened. From the shadows, a voice rose, not one she heard with her ears, but with her bones. "You broke the cycle. You defeated Time's enforcer. Now, will you take its place?" Rina turned. A being of pure silence stood before her. No form, just presence. An outline in the shape of a question. It was the architect. The one who built time itself. "Where am I?" she asked. "You are outside time, beyond all creation. Only those who touch every version of themselves arrive here." It paused. "You are the first human to reach this place." Rina clenched her fists. "Then send me back. Earth still needs me." The architect tilted its head, though it had no head. Time cannot be repaired. It must be rebuilt. And only one species can do it. Why me? Because you remember. You remember pain, victory, sacrifice. You carry the truth of every Rina Hale. That makes you more than a soldier. The void shifted, and in the distance, Earth appeared. But it was broken, frozen in a bubble of fractured timelines, civilizations clashing, versions of history fighting for control. And above it all, a black hole pulsed, eating time second by second. The last threat. The Omega Core, a sentient time engine, awakened by the shapeshifters before they died. It was pulling all timelines into one final collapse. You have two choices, the architect said. 1. Return to Earth, live your final timeline, and die with your people. 2. Become something greater. Ascend. Take control of the timeline stream, rewrite it. Lead your species beyond time. Rina stared at the broken Earth. She saw children running through fire, cities half-built, half-erased, old versions of herself, fighting and falling. And then, she saw hope, a child helping another, a pilot refusing to abandon his ship, a soldier stepping into the fire, so others could live. They didn't need a god, they needed a chance. I choose Earth, Rina said, not as a goddess, not as a timeline, master, as one of them. The architect didn't speak. It simply moved aside. A glowing door appeared in the void. Very well. Return, Rina Hale, but know this. You will not return as you were. She stepped through. The tachyon reappeared in orbit over Earth. Kim's voice echoed in her ear. Commander? We thought we lost you. I'm here, Rina said. Her voice calm, strong, different. The team watched her in silence. She looked unchanged, but something in her eyes was new, like she had seen every ending and still chosen this one. The Omega Core loomed above Earth like a god made of gravity. It had no army. It was the weapon. It spoke in thunder. All timelines must collapse. Unity is survival. Variation is corruption. Rina walked to the control center. She placed her hand on the ship's core and whispered, "Then let humanity be the chaos you never saw coming." She triggered the last spark, a device hidden in the tachyon systems by one of her past selves. It wasn't a bomb. It was a memory pulse, a blast of pure human experience, joy, grief, fear, courage, the things the Omega Core could never understand. It struck the core like lightning, and for the first time, the machine hesitated. Too many outcomes, too much noise. Rina stepped forward. You wanted one future, she said, but we are made of millions. The Omega Core cracked. It couldn't erase what it couldn't predict. The core collapsed. Time snapped back, the skies cleared, and Earth was whole. Later, Rina stood on the new Earth's surface. There were no statues of her, no monuments, just peace. The tachyon was gone. The war was over. But something had changed. People remembered things they never lived, futures they never saw. Because Rina didn't erase the other timelines. She had shared them. Humanity now carried the memory of its own potential, and it would never be the same. High above, in a place beyond space, the architect watched. Another being appeared beside it. Did she choose well? It asked. The architect nodded. She chose not to lead. That's what made her ready. They looked down, at Earth, and for the first time in forever, the future was truly unknown.